It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantha Tracks TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning Tatooine and welcome to the live stream. We're back once again for your weekly recap of everything Star Wars. If you're here watching live, give us your comments as we go over the weekly news. Hello Jack. I'm going to be covering a whole lot of Star Wars news from this past week, so let's check out what we've got coming up on the show. First up, we're going to be talking James Earl Jones stepping back from voicing Darth Vader. Regal Robot have a Weequay concept Maquette replica out. John Williams and Bob Iger are going to be knighted as part of some of the acts, the last acts of Queen Elizabeth II. Our universe have got some pieces from Andor out to buy. The Lego Razor Crest is confirmed and announced at last. Hasbro have got their Christmas Black Series figures line revealed. Liam Neeson's been working again with Ewan McGregor on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Genevieve O'Reilly's been talking Mon Mothma's marriage from Disney Plus's Andor. Gentle Giant have their Grand Inquisitor mini bust out. And Hasbro PulseCon has been going on this past few days. We'll be looking at all the Star Wars products from that. To joining me to discuss this and so much more from fantatracks.com, Claire Henry. How are you, Claire?
Good evening and good morning, Tatooine. I'm doing very well. A bit croaky at the minute, but I'm doing all right. Hopefully the voice will last.
We've got an hour. We'll struggle it out.
Oh, absolutely. I do. I'm not going to lie. I do have my little cup of tea with me just to wet the whistle.
So Andor is a big thing going on in the Star Wars world just now. How are you finding the show? We're 4 episodes in.
Oh, well, I loved it. As people who've been following Panther Tracks knows, I was one of the lucky ones to get to see it in IMAX down in London a couple of weeks ago, and we saw the 3 first episodes. I'm going to say that the very first episode, if it had been released, I think, 1 episode at a time for the first 3, I think people would have struggled with it. I think it was good. Yes, it is T. Mark Newbold, just saying. You doubt me too much. I think if it had been just 1 episode that way, I think people would have been lost in it. But I do have to say that Rogue One is one of my favourite Star Wars films ever. Wow. Including the OT stuff. And I'm loving it. I'm loving for me, it feels, it's a bit like a good BBC drama, if that makes sense to me. It's got that sort of feel to it. It's maybe not Star Wars, but for me, it's a really nice sort of slow build feel, sort of a bit Killing Eve, a bit The Split, that sort of stuff, those sort of dramas. So it's got that sort of feel to it with lots of different elements going on, etc. So yeah, I think it's great. I'm loving it.
I think I kind of agree with you that the 3 episodes together kind of worked. It might have been too slow a build without that, and especially that they're not really going for the episodic sort of cliffhanger, the EastEnders sort of.
No, they're not going for the are they at the end? It is like, this is over now, and you'll see what happens next time. Yeah. It's got that sort of a feel to it. I think probably this episode was probably more Star Wars even. I was for everybody who's not seen it yet, close your ears. But being on Coruscant and seeing the wheeling dealings that are going on behind in the background and the politics and stuff like that, I find all that quite fascinating. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that leads to. And there's some good links to a couple of the books as well. Catalyst, linking up to it, so you can see all these elements coming into it. They've mentioned that there's mining activity increased in Scarif, or not Scarif. Jeddah. So there's all sorts of things starting to tie in, and I actually watched Rogue One after this week's episode, just to sort of get my mind back into it again, and you can start to ultimately what's going to happen to Cassian, but what pulls him on that journey, because at the minute he's a bit sort of in it for himself. When does that change to he's in it for the rebellion and a good cause.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're going to see over the next few episodes as well.
I was having a conversation with some of the team from Fat Attacks earlier, and I actually compared Andor to the way that the Rings of Power on Amazon is playing out, and where it's been a very slow build.
Yes.
And this past week, well, not spoil it too much, but it really started to pay off with huge action scenes and starting to explain what the slow build's been leading towards. And I kind of feel that maybe this coming week on Andor is going to be very similar. It feels like they're going to have the attack on the rebel base, and we're going to get a lot more into the political Senate side of things as well. So I think this coming week could be the week that
yes, I think this is going to be the week where it slightly changes a little bit, and the reveals start to happen and the jigsaw pieces start to come together in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're going to discuss about Mon Mothma and what Geraldine was saying, or Riley was saying about the marriage and stuff later. So I think all that sort of stuff's quite intriguing, those backstories to it all.
Yeah.
It's a good insight.
So let's get stuck into this week's news. And first up was the news that James Earl Jones is kind of stepping back from voicing Darth Vader. Respeecher that worked on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I think previous projects before that as well, are going to be taking over the work with James Earl Jones' blessing. And there's a great article up in Fat Tracks Dom if you click the link in the comments or hit the QR code about Respeecher and the work they did and how they had to kind of rush to get the work done because they are based in the Ukraine, Kiev in the Ukraine, and they had to get the work for Obi-Wan out before the 24th of February and everything kicked off, which is just quite incredible, really.
It is incredible. I mean, first of all, I need to say thank you to James Earl Jones on behalf of myself and every other Star Wars fan for creating the most evil baddie ever. His voice is certainly, pinnacle to that sort of role and the creation of him and his evilness, etc. So for James Earl Jones, a huge thank you from me anyway, for being that. And the man is 91 years old. I mean, he deserves his retirement. He's and it's interesting though that if you read the articles that about it, he's given his permission for old footage, hasn't he, old audio for him to be used by this company.
And that's kind of sort of Skywalker Sound kind of said that he's almost going to act like a benevolent godfather. He's still going to give them advice on how he would deliver the lines and so on. And but he's given them permission, and I guess that's he's seen the work of Respeecher and what they're capable of doing. He was happy with it.
Yeah, and I think that's testament to them. And I mean, I can't imagine what the people there are going through at the minute with the conflict, etc., that's happening out there, and to be able to do what they're doing is just incredible. I can't fathom it. In the Vanity Fair article, they were saying that at some points the alarms would be going off and they would be on their laptops doing their stuff, and then the next thing, they were down in the bunker, etc., etc. So exceptionally brave people, doing an amazing job.
And it's a huge tech
with all
hub
that going on in the background.
It's a huge tech hub in the world in the Ukraine that we don't normally really recognise and realise. And even the software we use on this show that's sending the show out to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, is by Restream, who are a Ukrainian company as well. So we're actually benefiting right this very second from tech going on in that country. So the reach is impressive, and just doing that work and with that conflict heading towards them just says wonders of the
it is incredible. And if you watched Obi-Wan, and you wouldn't know that was what it was, that that was them sort of tuning it in and splicing it all together. I mean, that's just incredible. Really, what you I know some of the stuff has been particularly dodgy. I know there was a lot of criticism about the CGI of Carrie Fisher at the end of Rogue One, etc. But do you know what? That was just the beginnings. Take a look at what was happening in the OT and in in the Phantom Menace, etc. Technology moves on and allows people to do things like that, and it's quite interesting at the minute because it's this sort of is all in the news again, isn't it? Because apparently Bruce Willis didn't sell his face to a deep fake company, but you can see that this sort of technology is carrying on, to make it right. It'll be interesting actually to see where this goes, because you have voiceover artists who do characters like Julie Dolan, who does Princess Leia, etc. Where does that leave them?
Yeah.
Are they going to be made redundant because this research and this technology is going to pull in from old audio of others? It's a really hard one to try and work out. As much as it's amazing what it does, is that stopping new talent coming through? Possibly, possibly not.
I think it's going to end up similar to like Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One, where you're potentially going to still see an actor's presence there as part of the performance. And I think you're probably going to find that in terms of people's voices, you're still going to have someone perhaps initially perform the voice to get the how it's going to be presented, articulated, and so on, in the way that the director wants before it's given to like a company like Respeecher to, I want this actor's voice
to finesse it a little bit more. I
think it's just going to be an evolution of film.
Yeah, but I mean, when I was talking to Julie Dolan about her work that she did for Princess Leia, she was saying that there was three actresses went for to do some of the voice for Carrie Fisher in The Rise of Skywalker. So some of that dialogue is actually them, not her. So it's in. I find it fascinating where it's all going to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That technology, where it's going to be able to do it. But I hope that it doesn't stifle new talent. But in the same breath, I don't want it to stifle new technology either. I think the two have to sort of work together to sort of, make things progress.
It becomes another revolution, isn't it? It's like, I forget the name of the film, but it was on the TV the other night. They moving from silent movies to what they used to call the talkies.
Oh yes, I did
the one
see
with
that
the
was
dog.
on.
The one with the dog. Everyone knows what I mean. I can't remember the name of the film. But yeah, it's all about film is always going to evolve, and even when you start a TV project, to the time that TV project finishes, the technology is going to have moved on a thousand miles.
Correct. So it's an interesting one. I think it's got legs to move, and I think we'll find out where we're going to go with it pretty quickly, if that makes sense.
Yep. Next story, product release coming from Regal Robot, who do incredible work on film and TV, and alongside this product collection they do, and this is part of the archive collection. Weequay, concept Maquette Replica, is out now. You can actually buy it if you were at Star Wars Celebration earlier this year. You would have seen the prototype on their booth, a 250 piece numbered edition, and 100 pieces in the signature edition as well. I kind of love the Regal Robot kind of stuff. Again, it's an example of, I guess, can you call it old technology merging with the new? We've got these options of CGI, and we've got all these incredible ways of forming a character, but there's something you can't quite beat about these sort of classic maquettes.
Yeah, it was quite funny because when I was looking at what we were talking about tonight, I was thinking, I just looked at it and I went, it took me a while, to be fair, to work out who it was and where it was in the film as well. And I think there seems to be, I like what Regal Robot do simply because it's sort of like a niche thing that is genuinely limited, and you know that they've chosen some great things, to do. Like the Max Rebo one, it's cute, quite like it. They've done a Princess Leia one. I think what they choose well, and they choose ones that fans really love, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I know Matt and Mark are heading out to New York Comic Con, and they're going to visit Regal Robot Studios when they're out there as well. So keep your eye on Fanta Truck's socials. You may see little bits and pieces from the collection pop up.
That'll be brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing what they get up to, and maybe they might get a couple of like sneaky peeks and stuff for us, which would be great to see where they're going with it. Their furniture and everything. I mean, it's all just really so clever.
Yeah, it's next level, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. If I had a huge house, I think some of my furniture would definitely come from there. Yeah. I'm not sure my husband would be so keen, but
Next news item. John Williams and Bob Iger were both awarded knighthoods. One of the last actions of Queen Elizabeth before she died was to bring forward another list of honorary awards, this time for foreign nationals, which are very rare, it should be said. There's not many offered. John Williams honoured for his services to music, Bob Iger for his services to UK-US relations, obviously hugely connected with rekindling film production in the UK in the past 10-15 years, I think.
I mean, I just think this. I mean, there is a connection anyway between the royal family and Star Wars, etc., etc. You see, they do royal premieres for them. I remember when we went to see Last Jedi, it was a royal premiere with the princes there, etc. So there is a connection between them, and I think it's fantastic that they've recognised, because as you say, it doesn't happen often. Yeah. And again, John Williams, he's 90. Good grief, look at everything he's done for the music industry per se, and the soundtracks, etc. So I think this is, in a way, I like the royal family. Anybody who follows me on social media will see that, and I think it's a great recognition, and I think it's something that was a long time coming and probably should have happened a while ago, but they don't give them out often. So, and he is a magnificent artist, conductor. Composer. He's just one of the best. Yeah, I do wonder then, will that bring him over to England?
Yeah, these things tend to get announced quite some months before they're awarded, and I don't know what the situation will be will it wait until after, I was going to say Prince Charles, but we have to call him King Charles now. Get used to that. After his coronation, which I think they're saying is going to be May, June time. But it's not always the head of the family that does these things. I think in the past, a lot of the princes and princesses have done the ceremonies as well. So
and I think that would probably be the case. I would say that it will be the Prince of Wales.
Yeah.
Prince William will maybe do that, that investiture, because of his links anyway to Star Wars and the premieres that he's done. So I would say that wouldn't it be brilliant to have him over? Because I remember I was due to go and see John Williams at the Royal Albert Hall. He was to conduct a concert with all his music, and unfortunately he took poorly and he couldn't make it over. The concert still went ahead, but maybe, who knows, he might be well enough and up for a travel over. It would be amazing if he did do it,
Imagine they could time it to be alongside celebration, and we could have him at the Royal Albert Hall as well, and wouldn't that be something special?
God, wouldn't that just be fantastic? I mean, I saw John Williams at the 40th panel at the reveal. I was on that. I'd had a tip off from somebody who shall remain nameless, where to sit exactly and not in the middle. And I was like, oh, well, why? He says, I know you'll just see a big black curtain, but trust me, the big black curtain will be worth it. And it dropped or it opened. I can't remember which one it went. And there he was playing Leia's theme after Billy Lord had introduced it. And I was just like, totally mesmerized, bearing in mind I had been in that queue for nearly 48 hours. So, you know, it was worth, I would go again to see him. It could be good to have it doing next Easter, tie it all in.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a good link.
Next up on the news agenda, Her Universe have been releasing some products connected to Disney Plus's Andor show, and we can take a look at them.
Well, I'm going to be honest and say I'm not really that impressed.
This one seems rather sort of dull. Do I dare say dull?
Yeah. I mean, that when they did the Rogue One stuff, some of it was lovely, but this, I mean, we won't get it in the UK anyway, so you know, which is a shame. But I'm going to say, no wonder it's got 20% off that jacket.
Yeah,
it's just, it's like I can't even think where I would wear it. If I'm perfectly honest with you, I'm not too keen on that 3/4 length jacket at all.
yeah.
And
this one was sort of more acceptable. I thought it was almost the better of the three items they've kind of.
It is the better. It is the better of the three items, but again, it just looks, and dare I say it, it looks cheap. It looks cheap. It looks thrown together, last minute. Her Universe are better than this, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And I'm speaking as a true fan of Her Universe. I have lots and lots of pieces from the company, but I think that this set is poorly thought through, looks cheap, and just not what I'm used to for it. I mean, honestly, it's. I mean, honestly, that
kind of almost
with those fingerless gloves, I mean, it just looks ridiculous. And I wish I could say something positive about it, because I do love Her Universe, and I love the fact that because I am of a slightly larger size myself, you know, I don't fit the mold so much, and it is great that they do the plus sizes in it. But I just, where would I wear that?
Yeah.
You know,
this one, at least they announce it as kind of like a cosplay one, because it does feel like it's that kind of disposable quality, isn't it? Really.
I just don't even know who would. They needed to do. Mon Mothma's outfits are fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, there, or even the white Imperial Guards uniforms, or even, I mean, I absolutely loved the fact that, God, I forgot the name of the character. He adjusted his uniform, his security uniform, and put a little bit of extra piping in it.
Silas.
I mean, Silas. I mean, those outfits would be so much better than that. That's just, I mean,
it does feel like it's something that's been rushed to market, doesn't it? And
it feels like it's rushed to market. It feels like a delivery uniform. It's not a good look. I would struggle anybody. I would struggle to see anybody looking good in any of that. So I know it's Andor and I know it's utilitarian and all that sort of stuff, but really, frankly, those three pieces are probably the worst I've seen come out of Her Universe for a long time.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm very glad that I can't get Her Universe here at the minute. I am looking forward to her coming, hopefully, in Celebration, and them bringing a stall of stuff over. But for God, and this is what I don't want them to do, which is what they did in Europe and London the last time, which is basically bring over the stock that they couldn't sell in America. Don't do that this time. Don't insult the European market with bringing the leftovers or the stuff that you couldn't sell in America. Bring out the new stuff and bring it to Celebration and give us some fans that we deserve, because frankly, the last time it was pretty poor show. So sorry, rant over.
Yeah. Let's go for something that may prove more popular with people. Lego UCS Razor Crest confirmed and announced at long last. It's been the rumour that's kind of pretty much been confirmed for so long in the minds of people. It's finally proper announcement. It's going to be 75331 for those that order Lego, and the price point of it's quite dear though. But I think the argument is it's going to be worth it.
Well, if you see the size of the, if you see how many pieces it is, you see, the collection on it. I personally think that, take a look at the Millennium Falcon, all those big pieces. I did the Leia ship. Those big pieces, they are complicated. The design in them is amazing. The attention to detail through Lego bricks is simply stunning. So I know that although that looks very simplistic, the outer smooth shell of it, I know that underneath that is so many pieces that are going to send everybody nuts when they're trying to build it. I think it's great.
So the added size of this one compared to the standard Razor Crest is going to have removable brick built engines, an escape pod, and a carbon freezer chamber. So it's going beyond. It says it's smaller and far cheaper contemporary.
And well, I've built the smaller one. We have it sitting up on a shelf in our house, and we love it. We think it's great, and with the little baby Yoda or Grogu in it as well. I think this will capture that market and hopefully bring in, more people back into the throng of Star Wars, etc. through this Lego, because I think this is a great set. I think it's going to be quite good fun to build too.
Yeah, I was going through Gatwick last weekend. I was at Secret Cinemas, Guardians of the Galaxy, and coming back through Gatwick, heading home, EasyJet flight. You're only allowed the smallest of bags. And they've got a Lego store, and in the Lego store they're selling the Republic gunship and the Millennium Falcon, and I'm like, who can buy this? It's impossible to buy it because it's too big even for your hold luggage, let alone your hand luggage. So interesting that this is going to be on that kind of scale.
I wonder if anyone's tried and they've said, oh no, you can't do that. You'll have to pay for the hold luggage. I suppose if you've paid already 600 quid for it, what's another 30 quid to stick it in the hold, to be fair?
It's EasyJet. They're going to ram up the cost. You know that much.
Oh, God, yeah.
Heading swiftly on, let's get ready for the holiday season. It's fast approaching. We're into October. Hasbro have announced their holiday Star Wars Black Series figures. I don't know who collects these. I find all of these appalling use of the license, but let's go through them anyway.
I'm going to disagree. So I remember when they first brought these out, and I was like going, oh my God, are you for real? But actually, do you know what? I think they're hilarious. It would make me want to collect man toys. I'm not going to lie. I think this set in particular, that Chewbacca and Porg, how funny is that?
You've got Albino Bacca, as Fanta Tracks calls it, and the Porg. It's got blue toes because it's cold. And it probably is if you're going out to Skelled Michael this time of year. I think they just closed last week. I think if you've
the season's over for this time, isn't it? Now, he's got a touch of frostbite in his toes, bless him, hasn't he? He's a bit blue. I'm trying to think of. Do you remember the cartoon a long time ago, and it was like a big white monster with blue? Oh, I can't remember the name of the cartoon. God, it was in sort of the late 80s. That's what this Chewbacca reminds me of. Very, very funny. Yeah, I think it's quite amusing myself.
One for me because of my pure love of droids.
Yes, of course.
Protocol Droid Holiday Edition comes with that little annoying thing as well, whose name I can't even remember. A BD droid. think I'm right in saying. $27.99. Going to be available at Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store at the start of November.
Well, I have to say, I think that the dapper scarf on this droid is very Anthony Daniels.
Yeah.
I think he would be quite pleased with this. I do wonder, is it a solid scarf or is it a sort of flouncy scarf?
It almost looks cloth, doesn't it? But
it does look like cloth. I can't really see it in the pictures that they're giving, but if it could, you could have a little wrap around with it, or maybe make it into a snood or something like that. I don't know. I just think they're really quite fun. Quite like the fact that the center panel and the tummy's green. That's quite funny.
Yeah. One that's almost acceptable to me is the Mandalorian Warrior. He's got the Mando Christmas jumper. I'm sure Matt Booker's got that.
I'm pretty sure Matt Booker does have that. I'm pretty sure I've seen a Christmas jumper like that on him. I mean, again, to stick a Christmas jumper on a figure, I think it's hilarious.
Could they not have made that though Mando and had a little Christmas Grogu? Would that not have sold more?
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe that's gonna come. You never know.
Next up,
and there he is doing the Christmas disco.
This
with
one reminds me of I forget his proper name, but the dancing stormtrooper that's always at celebration.
Oh, yeah. Disco Trooper. Yeah, I remember Disco Trooper. Maybe he would like to. I do believe he's retired that outfit now, that spandex outfit with the cape. But maybe he might do a special for us at Celebration next year.
Maybe. Next up,
he's definitely busting moves on the Office Works dance floor, isn't he?
Yeah. Next up, Scout Trooper, complete with the rucksack, so you can punch Grogu. It's my favourite scene in Mandalorian season 2. It's coming to Walmart on the 1st of November. This is the thing about these Christmas holiday edition ones. I have to call it a holiday edition, not Christmas. Can't say that. Bad me. They're in so many different stores as well. So if you want the whole set, you've got a lot of hard work to get these.
Yeah. I have to say, I do like the it does look a bit like the Grinch actually. That one. I do like the you see the snowflakes in the background. I have my Christmas jumper is like that, and then at a convention there was somebody had 3D printed the snowflakes like that, and I thought that was it. Lego or Funko Pop calendar. Oh well,
the Christmas quandary, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard one. I do like that Santa Porg. I do like it. I know that's meant to be a gingerbread man. I do know that, but I'm not sure it's come out as much.
It's the least festive looking of them all. And the porg looks absolutely miserable.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's going to get roasted for its holiday dinner special. That's why.
And this one's Hasbro Pulse Shop Disney.
Albino Bacca.
Yeah. Hasbro Pulse Shop Disney exclusive starting in November as well. $28, so none of these are cheap anymore. This is no longer pocket money toys, the Black Series. It is an expensive collecting hobby. If you had to pick one, is there one in there that you would go for?
I'm gonna go back again. Show what was the? Show them again. Let's have a look. No, that just looks like the Andor stuff from her universe. That was not good. That was no good.
Is it going to go?
That one.
It's not going to go. Let's go forward. There we go.
Oh, it is.
There's a start. There we go.
There we go.
So you had Albino Bacca.
That's a not a bad shout. Oh, it's the Yeti. That's who he looks like. He looks like the Yeti.
You had the Protocol Droid. Can't call it C-3PO. It's Protocol Droid and BD Droid.
Yeah, possibility. I do like the stripy socks.
Mandalorian Warrior.
Nah, no, not that one. Definitely
Disco
not.
Trooper.
Yeah, with his Christmas jumper busting his moves. It's the mouse droid. Does it for me, I think.
Saturday Night Fever, says Mr. New World. I'm going for this one, the Scout Trooper with the punchable Grogu bag.
But that's only because you want to give him a good digging, don't you?
Yeah. If I see a scout trooper with a bag with a Grogu in it at Celebration next year, it's getting a punch.
Oh, be warned,
Yeah.
everybody. Be warned. Brian Cameron's going to come round and start punching Grogu's.
And
Yeah.
the last one
I
was
would
the
take
Phase
that
2 clone trooper.
porg. Yeah, I would take that porg and I would put it with Yeti Baka, and that would be a good one. And I think the Protocol Droid and the office Christmas party trooper for me too. They would be my top three of that choice.
Okay. If you had to bring someone to your office Christmas party, would it be Liam Neeson? Look at that swift link at the next article.
I see what you did there.
He's been talking about being back on set with Ewan McGregor, and when they sort of shot the scene, they just burst out crying at the end of it. Very emotional about the fact that it had been 25 years since they'd worked together on the Phantom Menace, and lived a whole lifetime since then.
I know. I can't imagine. When I was reading that, I was like going, really? But yeah, apparently so. They got emotional about it. I am wondering where it's going to go. I hope we're going to see more of Liam Neeson. I thought for a minute there he was going to get cancelled.
Yeah, I kind of feel that it was almost like a test. What will be the reaction if we just drop him in for a few seconds?
Yeah, and I think the reaction was good, so I think they're going to keep him, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Which would be great.
And they wanted to cancel him purely because he just told the truth about a story in his past. And and it's like you should be able to tell things as they were and what you learnt from it. So
yeah, exactly. I agree, and he's a good Northern Irish man, so I'm all over Liam Neeson. He's in my top 10. Definitely, it was good, and I do hope that we get to see more of him in this, and the whole, how does Obi-Wan,
I definitely think there's a desire there for them to do something. I think they just need
to
carve out
100%.
what that is.
Yeah.
We were talking about.
Do you think it'll come in the next series, or do you think it'll be a one-off? Or
I think we're maybe 2-3 years away.
Yeah.
Feels like they're going to have to come up with something. I feel like they don't have an idea for a second series, although they've probably got a desire to make one. So I feel like we're almost at starting point again.
It's a bit like what they said before. If you want me back in, you have to make it worth the watch for people. And I think Obi-Wan was worth the watch. I think they got it right. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if and where they go with that, really.
Yeah. Talking of Christmas parties, there's going to be a party next week on Andor, apparently. Perrin Fertha, husband with a man bun.
So now this is an interesting one. This is something that Johanna and I are hoping to discuss on Planet Leia, our podcast, about politics and life. And this is a perfect example of it. And I said about it in my review of this week's episode. Interesting, isn't it? He's clearly the party boy, and he likes the good life, and being married to her obviously brings that good life to him, and he enjoys it. But yet here she is feeling hemmed in by everybody watching her. Does he know what her agenda is? I'm not sure. I get the impression that she's even keeping from her husband her sort of grand plan, and you can see the fear in her face. When she was talking to Stallers, in the shop, buying him his birthday present. I think this is going to be a dinner party not to miss.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I've got a strange feeling he's not going to be around too long.
No, I don't think he's going to make the end of. Well, it's a bit like that girl at the start, Cassian's friend, her boyfriend. I didn't think he was going to last long, and he didn't even make it to the end of the second episode, did he? Bless him.
No, poor
so
Tim,
yeah,
Timm, wasn't it? Tim, I think it was.
That's it. Yeah. So I think that this I am going to assume that somebody, and I'm hoping Claudia Gray, if you're listening, if you could write the backstory to Mon Mothma and this marriage, I think she would be spot on for doing this. She did such a great job with the Leia bloodlines, etc. That I think that she would be great to write a book about this marriage and where it goes. And Jennifer O'Reilly, she was sort of saying about, you know, the conflict in the marriage between them, etc. So I think this is great.
I was
This is
interested
sort of,
in reading it in the depth of the creativity they're going to, and that it's not necessarily something we're going to see on screen, but or elements of it we're
no,
not going to see on screen, but they're trying to build up the backstory themselves, as to
yeah.
what the motivations and feelings are for the characters, um, and
It's clearly a loveless marriage now. Was it at the start? Who knows?
yeah,
Does he become? Does he? Is he into the high life and he likes it and he knows that if she keeps going where she's going, he's going to lose that. So is he sort of wheelie dealing? Because you know, in politics, you know, you're only as good as your best policy, so to
yeah.
speak. You know, and she's making herself unpopular, which is what she said to him in last week's episode. You know, I'm going to be sitting at a table with people that have just jeopardized thousands and millions, possibly, of lives. You know, this is interesting, isn't it? How galactic politics works.
Another part of the equation is we're 45 years into Star Wars, and this is the first time we're actually going to see someone's home life, really.
Yeah, actually, I never actually thought about that, but you're right. You know,
We've never really had someone delve into the relationships, really. Certainly not the home life and what that's like, and
yeah,
everything.
and that's why I said to you at the start. You know, this is why this feels like a great BBC drama to me because it's doing things differently,
Yeah.
but it's still Star Wars, but just not as you know it, and that's what I like about it. I want to get to know these relationships. I want to get to know what the the motivation behind this marriage is, or the whole, or what's going on. Clearly they are very high up, as we know, and so what does she have children? I don't know. This sort of stuff. This will all be interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this week's episode.
Mr. Naylor there with the controversial comment as always. Liz Truss is a Mon Mothma fan. Pretty certain that there's nobody a Liz Truss fan at the moment. I'm gonna throw back the comment that I always make when people mention this era in the Senate. The Emperor was democratically elected. There we go. And the powers that he's got were democratically given to him. Nice guy.
Boom.
Let's get back to some Star Wars products. Gentle Giant this week have unveiled the Grand Inquisitor mini bust. It's going to be $130 coming first quarter next year, limited to 2,000 pieces. Very visual character, but I don't know, did he build up enough of a fan base to justify?
I'm not sure he did. That's what I was going to say. I'm not sure he did, Brian, to be honest. I think as you say, he looks great. I'm quite sure when we go to Celebration, well, I suppose that the test of it will be at, thank you, Mark. I think that the testament will be how many cosplayers will we see as the Grand Inquisitor, as the Grand Inquisitor at Celebration. And then you'll get the feel for, what is this a well-judged product release or not?
Yep.
I mean, I'm quite sure it'll go because it's only limited to 2,000 across so many countries, etc. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think just looking at it, do you see the sort of the left hand looks a bit, I don't know, doesn't look right.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to know what it's doing, does it?
No.
Almost, yeah, a little bit weird. I don't like the fact that the lightsaber's kind of got the effect of it spinning.
Yeah, the
Doesn't
squishiness of it. Yeah,
it
no,
doesn't work for me.
no,
Um,
no. But I mean, it looks great. It looks great, and it looks very true. Certainly, on the facial features for it. But yeah, for him to come back at the end of the series anyway was a bit odd too. So I was like, oh, okay. I was quite happy. I'm quite happy when people get killed off. I don't mind that. I don't mind it. Kill them off. Don't see them again. You know, unless you're going to do a spin-off series about them, obviously. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. It'll be interesting to see how many cosplayers we'll see of that celebration this year.
Continuing the product theme, it's been a very product-heavy week. Hasbro PulseCon has been going on this past weekend. If you hit the QR code or the link in the show notes, you'll get a link to the YouTube. You can watch the whole panel from day 2 that brought us Star Wars and Indiana Jones reveals. We're going to show you the Star Wars main reveals, not all of them because there were so many, but we'll bring the main ones that were announced. First up, obviously Black Series Cassian Andor. Sadly, none of these are going to be out until next summer, so you're almost, despite the delay in the show to September, you're almost another 9 months out before you're going to get your hands on these, which just feels like it's missed a beat a little bit.
But do you think they might have some of them at Celebration?
I don't know. You would have liked to have thought so.
Yeah. What I don't want this celebration to be is the poor relation again, which it has been sometimes in the past for a few of the things. So it would be nice if they did bring some of these, Black Series things for people to get. Yeah. I think that would be good.
There's always a difficulty with Celebration in Europe in that a lot of the license holders don't have an international license, so they can't come to the show and show their product.
Correct.
Not the case for Hasbro, however, so they don't have that kind of excuse.
No, they can bring whatever they want, can't they, really?
Yeah. So I thought it's a solid figure, 25 back, but just that delay in time, and it's going to be the problem across the whole sort of Andor range, I think.
I'm not going to lie, his thighs are a bit too chunky for me. I'm sorry. I just, when I saw it on, in the reveal and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, bit chunky. But
I won't dare say that.
That's a personal preference.
I won't dare say that about Bix. I'm getting so much trouble if I said that. But she's also coming next summer. And obviously she's been in the first few episodes, and I'm expecting her to be back in a major part.
I think we're going to see her back again. Yeah, I think she'll be back in again. She'll probably be part of the Rebel band and join the rebellion, etc. In the end. Yeah, nice figure. Again, if that's just, I think one of the interesting things, and I don't know whether this is the case still, but how these are going to be displayed. Are these closed boxes or open boxes?
These are all closed boxes. All of
these are all closed?
All closed.
You see, what are they playing at? I mean, I don't even collect these things, and even I'm not sure, would want to buy something that I couldn't actually see.
Yeah, and I think it's an exit point for a lot of collectors is, okay, now's my time to get out of collecting this stuff, because we all look for an excuse to stop a range or not buy a range, and I think the packaging is a big one. And I get everyone's trying to cut back on plastic and so on, but your product inside is a plastic product, so the fact you've got a tiny film of plastic on the box,
correct,
not a big
deal. No,
so,
and I am quite sure there is a way around it that you can. You can see the product inside it. I mean, imagine spending. I mean, they're not cheap, as you said. What are the retailing at?
$25.
I mean, $25 for a box, and you hope that inside it looks good. Per show.
Yep. One of the better figures, I thought. I really kind of liked the look of this figure.
Oh, great!
Luthien Rail, just looks facially just looks perfect. I thought Stellan Skarsgård looking straight back at you.
Yeah. Absolutely, they've absolutely nailed that. I wonder, are they going to do the Coruscant version as well? Yeah. The more flamboyant.
I kind of like that. It was one of my favourite scenes. I kind of mentioned on Thursday's live stream doing the review show that I just liked that whole moment of him going through that transition and the sort of little dance he kind of did when he was getting himself into character. I
thought that was excellent. I thought that was hilarious. Let me just get my little shush on here and let's go, ta-da! And tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be, that one. There's Paul Naylor saying it. I'm out of collecting Black Series due to packaging. you know, I think that's a real. I think they'll learn pretty quickly that they need to rethink what they're doing with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that figure is fantastic. So this one has nailed the costume or the outfit,
But
but
not the face is wrong, isn't it?
the face is wrong. The
Yeah.
face is wrong. They just haven't quite got her just.
And I kind of thought the same. We don't have the indie range here, but if you watch the video from the link in the show notes, you can see all the indie stuff. The indie character looks fantastic, everything but the face. So
Yeah.
they've still got a lot of work to go on. When you go on to the vintage collection, which is obviously the cheaper price range, the $15 range, again, you've got Cassie and Andor.
Slightly slimmer thighs in that one.
Yeah, and this one they've also got Vel, which I kind of thought was a kind of odd kind of pick, but let's see what we get from her in the next couple of episodes.
Well, it'll be interesting. I thought that maybe none of them are. I thought that none of them are going to last the end of the series, are they either?
Yeah,
you know, but yeah, clearly she's got something going on that we don't know about yet.
The next one, I kind of showed the box packaging. Rather than the figures in this one, because we all know what the model nose look like. They've been out before. 90 back for the 7 characters. I just think the box is so appalling. I know they're going for the black and white look for a stylish kind of thing, but if you've not seen the characters on the action figures online and you're not specifically looking for them, I would not pick that up.
Nope.
I just think it's terrible. So I want to throw that out there so people could see it. But $90, it's a no from me. That's coming spring next year.
And that's $90. Oh wow!
Yeah.
Gosh.
And carrying on, Hunter, which I think is that Bad Batch. I think.
Yes, that is Bad Batch. Yeah.
More details to be announced on that. We don't have a price point or a release date for that one as yet. And they're also obviously doing Return of the Jedi stuff. And we're getting a Wicket in the Black Series, which
I think that's quite cool. I quite like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cute. We're also getting.
I remember having my Wicket, you know, with the hood on the top. This is excellent, except the boots aren't quite right. But they're not far off it, but too much of a Cuban heel.
Yeah.
I thought the heel. I could be wrong. I need to go and have a look at that one and see. But
we've got Han. Yeah, a nice pose on that one. But
yeah. Hey, it's me.
We've got the Biker Scout, which never looks right without the actual bike, I think. But
yeah,
there we go.
Did you ever have the bike when you pressed it and then it exploded? And
I had that as a kid. Yeah.
Well, that was a great toy to play with.
Lando in his Skiff Guard outfit, which
that's a good one. I like that. I'm quite looking forward. I'm hoping that they're going to do some good stuff for Jedi at Celebration.
Yeah.
I do remember, was it Jedi that they played in Essen, or was that Empire?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they're going to do that again. Oh, so this robot is just, honestly, having seen it in real life at the Andor media screening, incredible the movements on it, the movement and everything, and it does all what it does. And there was like 4 people behind the scenes controlling this one droid. You know the way when you see droids moving about at Celebration, it's one guy, with the remote control or whatever. There were 4 people doing this because of all of the elements of them. So yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah,
I like that droid.
Next up, we've got the collection rescue set multi-pack, which I've just put this image up to show that Hasbro's prepared to put this out and Lucasfilm's prepared to put this out, but we can't have a woman in a bikini.
Well,
when it's a Return of the Jedi anniversary, where's Slave Leia? It's wrong.
Well, I was just about to say, don't even say woman in a bikini. Just say, give her a right name, Slave Leia. Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? That you can't. Well, that's what everybody wants. I want a Slave Leia to go with my Jabba the Hutt that I have upstairs in the roof space.
Yeah, I think
that's what I want.
It's when you consider what Andor is, and you've got him going to a brothel, but we can't have someone in chains.
And they're swearing in Star
Yeah.
Wars. I'm not 100% sure I'm with them swearing. I mean, I swear with the best of them. Everybody knows that
If
of
shops
me.
don't want to stock it, let the shop make that choice. Is kind of my
Correct.
attitude.
Correct.
We've also got
I
Black
maybe I should
Series.
start an online petition for Slave Leia figure for Jedi. Maybe they might reveal it. They might be revealing it at Celebration. You never know.
Never know. It would sell a lot, I think. Black Series X
Mm.
Wolves. He's going to be back, Series 3 The Mando. So it's coming out spring 23, just as Series 3 is coming out. So that may prove popular. And to wrap up the reveals, we have Omega from Bad Batch, which not the greatest of figures, I don't think, but
No.
I think people will be glad to see her getting a figure nonetheless.
Yes, I mean, if you're into Bad Batch, it's certainly something that, you'd want to get, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's just fast approaching the end of the show. We're nearly at the hour point.
Yeah.
Time has flown. You mentioned Planet Leia, and what are you planning on the next Planet Leia show?
So, well, we're going to take a look at. I think we're going to take a look at politics. Johanna is still on her mini moon because obviously in our last episode we were talking about marriages, but given what was going on in Star Wars and that point in time with the princess and the scoundrel. Oh, and my daughter's sending stuff to get posted. And so I think we're going to take a delve into Star Wars politics. I know that Mon Mothma is a character that both, yes, it was Jedi for the 30th anniversary. So that's what we're going to take a look at. I was with Sam, the first female stormtrooper at the media event. So she's going to come and join us for an episode, and we're going to talk all things female and stormtroopers, taking a look at I'm going to ask her important questions like, what was your costume? How did it get adapted for the female form compared to what male form had, etc. So we're going to delve into really in-depth things like that. So the next couple of episodes, definitely politics and female stormtroopers is what we're going for.
Can't wait for that. Claire, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. I just love talking Star Wars.
Yeah, we'll be back Thursday night for a review of episode 5 of Andor. And I think Paul Naylor's joining me for that show, so we look forward to that. And we'll see you all again next Sunday as well for more Star Wars news.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for listening, everybody, and watching tonight.
Okay, thank you and good night.
May the Force be with you.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on panthatracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at Panthatracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow Panthatracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live shows.